And hello, welcome to another episode of Mike Sports. I'm your host Eric, joined as always by Landry. Landry, how you doing tonight?
Not as good as I was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, you've had a couple rough weeks.
Yeah.
Lost this past week to the Packers. Really, a really tight game. It started off. The Packers jumping out in front of you. Amari Cooper drops a touchdown pass, and
Yeah.
then the Packers just carve right through the Cowboy defense. It really seemed like the Packers were going to have no trouble at all. The Cowboys came back, though, in the second half, and particularly the fourth quarter.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because, last week against the Saints, it was the defense that kept the Cowboys in the game, and the offense just couldn't get it done. And this week, the offense was, once they got going, they were flying, and our defense couldn't keep the Packers out of the end zone.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. It's like kind of one of those things they just can't put both of them together. My team, we only show up for one half of football.
Yeah, but at least when they show up, they freaking dominate.
Yeah.
Remember, I still had the Eagles picked to win the conference, so
do I.
Yeah, I got the Eagles to win the conference, regardless of. Look, the Cowboys are a dangerous team if they show up. If they don't show up, or if they show up late. Remember last year against the Rams? It's kind of the same thing. We could have beat the Rams, but we didn't start playing football until the second half. And the Rams have already put up some points. But in the second half, we came in with, 8 of beating them? But it was too little too late.
Yeah.
It's because of for one, I do think that Dak has a mentality when it's back against the wall, he plays his best football. Problem is, when the score is 0-0, your back is not against the wall. So it's hard to do anything with that. Anyway,
Yeah.
So we talked about the Cowboys. No drama there until Jason Garrett's fired. This is all hogwash. All right, we got Giants Patriots first game.
Yeah. I'm assuming we're both going to go with the Patriots. Although I don't think it's going to be as dominating game as we, on paper would say.
Yeah, I'm going to go like 21-10 Patriots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say something similar. I was going to say 20-9, 20-10, somewhere in that range.
Okay. And we got Panthers, Buccaneers.
Yeah, Panthers, Bucks. It'll be a game in London. And, our first 9:30 kickoff Eastern time, 8:30 Central. So it'll be fun to have some breakfast football.
I'm going to go with Bucks because nothing says a win like licking your fingers. I'm going to have to go with the Bucks on that one. And speaking of them playing the Panthers, I'm going to go with McCaffrey right now as my current MVP. And I was watching the show Speak for Yourself, and they said something I thought was really interesting. They said, they don't think that McCaffrey's getting the credit he should because he's a white running back. And they said that they think that just like black quarterbacks got credit as black quarterbacks emerge, they think that anytime there's a white running back, that it should get just as much credit because it's not something we typically see. And this was said by an all-black panel. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting, and that's good on them for taking on that topic.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's interesting. It's funny. Christian McCaffrey was a guy who I remember when he was coming out of college, I really thought this is going to be a guy who, forget carries, it's going to be about getting him 10 to between – or say maybe more like 15 to 18 touches a game.
Like a Danny Woodhead and all-purpose kickoff returns. Yeah. Catches out of the backfield, in and out, 2 or 3 plays a drive. Yeah.
And then I didn't think he would be a bell cow back. He wouldn't be that guy that you could just build your offense around and say, we're going to hand him the ball 25 times and we're going to win the football game smash mouth style.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, as of right now, it looks like the Carolina Panthers are better without Cam Newton.
Yeah.
They're playing better football. But we said that in the last segment. I think we both agree that Cam is on his way out.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I definitely believe that. But I think this Sunday is a Tampa win. I just don't think Carolina – it's kind of like when I made the prediction on the Eagles-Packers game where I just said there was no real X's and O's reason. I just felt like the Eagles weren't necessarily a 1-3 football team and the Packers weren't a 4-0 football team. And so kind of the same thought process. It's like – I don't think the Panthers are a 4-2 football team, so I think they'll lose to go to 3-3. And I think the Bucks could be a 2-4 team, but in this battle, I'll just say they're both going to end up 3-3 at the end.
Okay. Redskins, Dolphins. I'm going with the Dolphins in this.
Of the week.
I'm going with the Dolphins. I mean, I think this is where the Dolphins say, hey, we're playing a college-like football game. We can win this game. I think they're going to take this one.
And I think the Redskins, it's typical that you get some momentum when you fire your coach and the interim guy kind of rallies the troops and the players sort of get that bunker mentality, that us against the world. Everybody's ready to count us out and get rid of us. So I think the Redskins use that momentum and get a win.
Okay, and I think the Redskins fold, and I did predict that Jay Gruden would be fired after the Patriots game, not before. And I think we're both in kind of agreement that firing coaches half season is a waste of time because there's really no difference whether they're cut at half or they go all the way out. You're not going to start an official new coach during the season. You're going to throw an interim. So if you're going to throw an interim coach in there, why do it at all?
Yeah, I'd say it's always a curious move when teams do that. I just feel like the kind of work you have to put in as a head coach, like it's not something like, look, a manager come in, in baseball and kind of rotation. And that was weird. Kind of cut out for a second.
Looks like your internet dropped there for a second. I can hear you.
Okay, well, I don't know.
I don't see you.
Yeah.
But I can hear you.
Ah, jeez.
That's all right. Going. I can hear you.
Fun today. Me and Comcast, we are gonna fight.
But I can hear you clear as day.
I hope Comcast.
There's a button on the screen. I think it says send to live. You might need to push that again. It's at the top right-hand corner. Do you have that?
No.
Okay, you could try refresh it, and it should bring you back into the room.
All right, let's see.
Hit F5. All right, so we're going to wait for Eric to come back. There you are. All right, so anytime that happens in the future, just F5 it.
Yeah.
Anyways, so...
Me and you, Internet, we're going to fight.
That leaves us at Texans-Chiefs.
Yeah, Texans-Chiefs. The Chiefs falling from the ranks of the unbeaten. I definitely don't think they're losing 2 in a row. I think the Chiefs get the win.
Okay. I'm going to go... Ooh, this is a tough one for me because the Chiefs are at home, and most of the time I think it's really hard to win at Arrowhead. Only the Pats, to me, could probably beat them at Arrowhead. But Deshaun Watson is playing some football. The Texans receivers have stepped up this season. They're catching everything. But I think the downfall ultimately for me will be the Texans' offensive line cannot beat the defensive line of the Chiefs. So I'm going to go with the Chiefs, and I'm going to go with a 28-14 Chiefs.
Okay. Yeah. I do think the Chiefs win. I think it'll be a high-scoring game. I think like a 35-31, something like that. It'll be a good game. Maybe game of the week.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, Deshaun Watson and Mahomes obviously are both multiple scorers. So
yeah.
And a game I don't care about, Saints Jaguars.
Yeah. Saints Jaguars. Yeah, I know we got one fan tuned in, a big Saints fan. So shout out to her. But I think the Saints.
Okay, I do like the Saints. Let me say that. I just won't pick them over the Cowboys. I'm going to go with Saints over Jaguars. I think the Saints are on a roll. I think they got some momentum right now. And I think this is actually, even though the Jaguars are only 2-3, this is going to be a good test because this is the Saints without home field advantage. They did go up to Seattle, put up a good fight. So I just feel like they played Seattle last week, right?
Was it last week? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when they went to Seattle, they put up a good fight. And that's hard to do in Seattle's home field. So I'm going to stick with the Saints. I think they're on a little bit of a roll right now.
Yeah, I definitely think the Saints. Yeah, I do agree. It's going to be a good test just because the Jaguars' defense is no joke.
I think it'll be a low-scoring game, actually, though.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see like a 10-7 or a 13-10 game. Seahawks-Browns.
Yeah, Seahawks-Browns. Seahawks having to go cross country to play the Browns. I'll tell you what. This kind of has a feel to me. I kind of put the Seahawks on upset alert. So I'm going to take the Browns in this one.
Upset alert. The alarm sounded. Wow. Okay. Now, look, I don't know how Baker Mayfield's going to recover from Sherman calling him out and saying he put a foot up his ass this week on his Twitter. But and the fact that he says he didn't shake his hand, but clearly the video shows he shaked his hand at the beginning of the game. He just didn't shake it at the end. I always like Mayfield when he goes out and plays with a chip. So I'm actually going to go with the Browns too. Upset alarm.
I like that. Very authentic upset alarm.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's seriously, that's an expensive alarm we paid for there. It actually sounds like a dead or a screaming cat on its way out. But Bengals versus Ravens, the 0-5 Bengals. Do you think they get a freaking win this one?
No, I don't. I think the Bengals lose again here to the Ravens.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with you. I don't really even have much to say in this game other than I just don't have a lot of faith in the Bengals period.
Yeah.
Niners, Rams. The Niners are on a roll, one of the few undefeated teams left.
And I think we have one less after this week. I think the LA Rams get the win. 49ers probably getting a lot of hype at this point, maybe more than they're ready for.
Who, the Rams or the Niners?
Niners.
Okay. I like the Niners in this game. Wait, did the Rams lose their last game?
Yeah.
Yeah, then okay. I'm going to go with the Rams this game. I thought it was going to be close, but to me, that'll make the Rams more hungry. I think this will be the Niners' first loss then in that case. I think it'll be close. Bosa is freaking a maniac. I'm impressed with him. So, yeah.
I agree with you. Bosa
that DNA in that family, obviously. Falcons, Cardinals.
You know, I've been trying to get the Falcons back on the roll. I was impressed with them when they beat the Eagles on Sunday Night Football. Their stadium's awesome. They go into Arizona. I think this is a Falcons win. If they're going to get right, they're going to get back in the NFC South race, this has got to be a win here for Atlanta.
Yeah, I agree. It's got to be a win. I think they're going to get it. And I can't remember. I'd have to go back and watch our previous videos. If I picked the Falcons to be a fluke or to play football this season, I can't really remember what I picked. I think I went back and forth a little bit.
Yeah, I picked them to win the NFC South, but in a couple of weeks, if they haven't won some more, I'm definitely going to back off that pick, and I'm going to say I never made it.
Yeah, I'm going to go Falcons by 10 in that game.
Yeah. Okay.
Broncos.
Broncos.
Broncos. Okay.
Yeah, I definitely think this is a Bronco win. I just gotta believe they're gonna they gotta win finally this past week. I think they string two together in a row. The Titans. I mean, I don't know what to believe out of Marcus Mariota. So I feel like a trip to Mile High doesn't spell good things, even for some good players. And Marcus Mariota, I don't think is a good player.
I think he's a solid player. I don't think he's a great player. I think he can be consistent, but he's one of those guys without the proper supporting cast. He doesn't shine as a quarterback.
All right, so Sunday Night Football, Steelers at the Chargers.
Okay, I hate the Chargers. I think Chargers are crap. I think Steelers are going to go in and get a hungry win here.
You know what? I kind of think so too. I feel like this is just, a defensive statement game for the Steelers.
And let me say this. If Tomlinson is let go by the Steelers at the end of the season,
do
you see him going to the Redskins?
It'd be interesting. It'd be worth a phone call if I'm the Redskins.
Okay, let's say he's not available right now. Who would you try to get if you were the Redskins?
If I'm the Redskins, I don't go sexy name. I go offensive coordinator somewhere. I'd have to look at who some of those names are, but I try to cherry pick some of the successful franchises over the last few years. I look at Seattle. I don't necessarily try to go after New England.
Okay.
But yeah, I think I'd try to look over at an offensive coordinator somewhere like a Seattle, maybe even who's the coordinator there in Dallas?
Oh, our young guy.
Yeah,
Carson Hammond who you're talking about. Yeah.
That's who I would look at. If I'm the
like
Redskins, I'm not going the after the big name, after the recycled guy like the Mike Tomlin or something like that. Like I'm going after the young coordinator who I think is growing and hungry and wants to come in here and do some work.
I actually am going to go 100% opposite of you. I would go with Mike McCarthy. I think he's a good coach. I think he's put in position with somebody who had the power to help push him out. I always found him very consistent with the Green Bay Packers. I didn't think his play calling was the best, but he had a great quarterback to hold that down. I think he knows what it takes to be around a young, talented quarterback. And to me, when an organization needs to be rebuilt, which let's be honest here, the Redskins are a lot like the Chargers. They're shit from top to bottom right now. Mm-hmm. They said, I read a report that over 40 employees quit the Redskins before the start of the season because of an unhappy environment. 40 employees. That's nuts.
That's crazy. So,
there's the Jerry Joneses of the world who Ellen DeGeneres and people like that sit in the booth with because of his Hollywood style. And then you have the owners like Snyder who just suck and need to get out of the football way and let who you hire do the job. And I think they need to do a new GM, a new coach, new staff, probably new employees even in the front office, secretary. I mean, it sounds like they just need a new environment.
Hot dog vendor,
Yeah. You're big on firing the hot dog guy. A lot of hot dog people probably pissed off at you out in the world right now. But as long as you don't hit the beer guy, I think I'm okay with it. But
the beer guy, you need consistency there.
Yeah. Guy. So I'm gonna go with I would hire Mike McCarthy because you need something strong and consistent in that organization for a change. I think if you go get the young and the restless, as I call it, if you go get one of those, it's too much of a 50-50 to me. You have to bring in a strong force to get something in there. So it's either you get the young spark or you get the strong and steady ship. And I think, unfortunately, the Redskins need the strong and steady ship because of what's above him, above the coach. And that's why I believe in that.
I understand the point.
I don't think a young guy can come in and tell Snyder, I want A, B, and C, or I'm not coming here. I think someone like Mike McCarthy can say, look, I don't want you in my damn ear every 5 minutes. This is how I'm going to do things. I need a GM who will work with that, and I need you to basically stay out of my damn way. Otherwise, I don't know what you expect, how you ever expect in the next 10 years to turn this organization around. That's what I believe. Well, I don't think a young guy can tell Snyder that.
Okay. My thought process is more of you need a guy who they're not expecting instant results from. Because this is going to take a little bit of a rebuild.
You can't be the coach of the Redskins, man. Oh, I thought I was talking about you, my bad.
Well, no, I think it's got to be some. Well, no, I said young guy, so it's definitely not going to be me.
Right.
But I think it has to be like I would picture somebody who the expectations are not like you get a Mike McCarthy in there, and all of a sudden, like people are thinking, okay, they're gonna, he's gonna get with Haskins because he worked well with Rodgers, even though Rodgers liked to mock him a lot, but.
Right.
But they're going to expect the same kind of results, and I think probably very quickly. Whereas if you get the young coordinator who's building his staff, who's hungry and is willing to be there 18 hours, like not that I don't think McCarthy's willing to be there 18 hours a day, but like he's going to be one of those guys where if somebody questions anything, he'll just be like, yeah, look at my resume. Whereas the new coach, new hire, is someone who's able to, put in that time and put in all that effort. Like somebody tries to question something, it's not, oh, look at my resume. He's going to show you how it works. He's going to be that kind of a guy who can maybe relate to some of these players. I feel like there's a disconnect between the Redskins players and the Redskins coaching staff. You get a young guy in there who is willing to maybe have that more of a personal relationship. I feel like that is going to help this team grow.
Okay. I think you suck and you're wrong. That's all right. All right. Green Bay and Detroit.
Glad we stayed respectful there.
I'm just kidding. I just think you're wrong. All right. Detroit and Green Bay.
Detroit, Green Bay.
Detroit is on a freaking roll, man.
Yeah. Detroit's
remember when the players were like uprising against Patricia because they're trying to bring the Patriot way? They were talking trash about him. The locker room wasn't a fan of him, and now they're freaking winning.
Yeah, it's funny. Winning cures a lot of things. All of a sudden you start winning games, and it's like, and it's not, he's bringing this drag. It's like, you know what? It's a calm, business-like approach, and we like it here in Detroit because we're business-like.
Yeah.
It's funny. You win, and that's the approach. You lose, and he brings this toxic, miserable environment. But that's what winning does. And so, but that being said, I think the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau get the win.
I think Detroit takes it to them. I think Detroit beats them by a touchdown.
Okay.
I think Detroit brings the defense that shuts Rodgers down.
All right. So that brings us to, in our mind, the two marquee matchups: Cowboys-Jets, Eagles-Vikings. Let's start with your team, the Cowboys and the Jets. I'm assuming we're both going to take the boys.
Yeah, I think right now the Cowboys are pissed off, and they know the press is laughing at them, saying you had 3 easy teams, you look good, you played 2 hard teams, you lost. I'll say the Saints, they lost by 2. That was a real matchup. I think the Packers put a shellacking on my boys. Mm-hmm. And although we showed promise in the end with some comebacks, you can't fucking win a game with the fourth quarter alone. Either play like that in the beginning or get off the damn field. And I think, and I'll say it, Kellen Moore, by the way, is the guy you were thinking about earlier. But yeah. I'll be the first to say I don't like what I'm seeing right now. I don't see a team consistent from the start. I can tell there's something going on. First of all, I saw Jason Garrett get a flag thrown on him, which is unusual in a football game for Jason Garrett to lose it, and he clearly lost it. And
yeah, what was it? He was clapping too hard? Is that what the problem was?
Yeah. They said he clapped so hard he slapped a ref. His hand slipped off, took a ref out.
In his defense, that ref had it coming.
Well, in his defense, F the refs the majority of the time anyways. Their shit's wrong. Right. But what I will say is my gut psychological feeling from what I was seeing, he's feeling the pressure of his job. Okay, let's face it.
And I know that has you excited.
Jason Garrett is not going to get fired. He's simply not going to get renewed because his contract ends. So there's no firing going on here. This is thanks for your time and your service. Here's your gift well package. I mean, that's pretty much what I think is going to happen. The problem I see is who the hell is going to be out there to get? I have no freaking clue. But
then maybe promote Kellen Moore.
Exactly. Now, wouldn't that be interesting? The backup quarterback becomes the coach. The backup quarterback of Troy Aikman became the coach. It'd be kind of interesting. But, I think Dallas gets a win. I think Dallas gets a big win. I think Dallas wins it by like 14 to 20 points.
Yeah, I agree. I think Dallas kind of jumps out on them early and puts it in cruise control.
And I'm not even saying this because it's the Jets. I think Dallas is just pissed off. They're pissed off at themselves right now. For two games, they were better than the Pats. They got in the hole too early in the game. Yeah. They were better than the Saints. The Saints defense beat the offensive line of the Cowboys up, no doubt. And because of that, they lost that game. But that was a 2-point loss. They didn't lose by a team that just whipped them. So They have excuses. They really do. They have excuses for why they lost. But the problem is they equal L's. So it doesn't matter what you feel. You have L's on your record now. So, all right. Eagles, Vikings.
It's going to be a tough game.
I'm going to go, and I typically pick Philly in most games because of how I feel about the way they're playing football right now. But in this one, I'm going to have to go with the big Viking horn being blown before the game. I think the Vikings are going to take this one.
Look, I think this game's going to all come down to who wins up front at the line of scrimmage. The Vikings, their big strength on offense is they run the football. Well, the biggest strength of the Philadelphia Eagles defense is they stop the run.
Yeah, so and that's what I was going to say I was going to say Minnesota has the best offensive line, but offensive line doesn't face offensive line, faces defensive. And I think the Eagles have the better defensive line. So that's why I said I think it's going to be a deadlock. I think this literally comes down to a field goal, and I think the Vikings get it.
And you could be right. I personally think it's gonna be a tight game. It's gonna be tough. This starts a 3-game stretch for the Eagles on the road. Which, let me tell you, as a big-time Philadelphia baseball fan, I am so happy that the Eagles got 3 straight road games so they could have all those home playoff games for the Phillies. Like, oh, wait. Hey, NFL, why don't you suck at picking who's going to be good at football, and you're going to try to now decide who's going to be good at baseball or scheduling? Come on.
Yeah, I don't – beats me, man. I mean,
and that's the whole reason why they were scheduled on the road for these 3 weeks. Of course, there's also a lot of construction on the highway that leads in towards the link, And so I'm figuring, they gave it 3 weeks for the construction crew to finish up that bit of work. So maybe that's what it is. They
now, how many do you go? You go to every home game, right?
Yeah.
How many away games do you try to attend a year? 2?
Oh, just one.
Just one? Okay. Because I know you went to London at one point, and then I know you went to Atlanta, but those are 2 separate years, right?
Right.
Okay. And that's cool. I mean, pick the best away game of the year and go to it, pretty much.
Yeah, and it's funny, and I'll bring this up to y'all fair too. But me and the old man, we were talking about next year going to Dallas for my 40th birthday. You'll be turning 40. You're a big Cowboy fan. I figure we should meet up and go to that Eagles-Cowboys game.
Sure, yeah, it's probably not a bad idea.
Celebrate our birthdays.
Yeah, if you can pay for my plane ticket, my seats, and my hotel, I'm down, man. Sounds like a good idea. Sounds like you signed up. All right, I like it.
Wait a minute, what just happened here?
All right, so that's the end of the show. I was kidding. Cut you off before you have a time to rebuke. I'm gonna go with Vikings. Like I said, I think it's gonna be a tight game. I think it's gonna be the battle of the offense. First of all, I think it's funny. I really do. I think the defense of the Vikings is going to be your problem. I think the offense. I think you're going to toss them around. I don't think their running game is going to go anywhere on you. I think they're going to make a couple pass touchdowns, which doesn't sound, being that their runs are a stronger part of their game. I'm still favoring their passing game. I think Basement Cousins is going to come out and say, "Hey, I want to earn my money on some of the games I play in," and probably get some good throws in the end zone. I don't know. This feels like this is one of those games where I feel like Wentz just isn't going to be on his game. It's just a feeling to me. I don't know why. And typically it's when you're at their stadium in Minnesota. I don't know why. I just don't feel like this is going to be a Wentz game.
Well, and I'll tell you why I think you're wrong. Tell me, Kirk Cousins, the starting quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings, can you name for me the last team that ended up with a winning record that he has a win over? Give up? Nobody.
The Saints?
Nobody.
Okay.
Well, they did not.
But I mean, a winning record. I mean, I'll take a winning record into account. Like in December. Right now, we're still in the beginning.
No. I'm not saying it had a winning record at that time. I'm saying ended up with a winning record.
Oh, no. Look, I don't think the Vikings are going to end up good in the season at all. I just think they're going to win.
I'm saying Kirk Cousins as a starting quarterback, when he faces a team that ends up the season with a winning record, he's never beaten them.
Oh, okay. Well, this changes obviously with my pick.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that would change.
Hey, rules are meant to be broken, man. And I
had a guy that I respect a lot as far as the gambling prowess say to me last year before the Bears-Vikings game, which as an Eagles fan, I needed the Vikings to lose so the Eagles could make the playoffs. He said to me, "Eric, relax. There's no sure bet in the gambling world than betting against Kirk Cousins in a big game."
Yeah. Nice.
And he turned out to be right. So that's what I'll say. There's no sure bet than betting against Kirk Cousins in a big game.
Okay, so I'm going to predict that you're picking the Eagles to win.
Yes.
So one of my predictions will be right.
There you go.
Little psychological trick there. Okay, look, close game either way. If the Eagles won, I'm not going to be like, "Oh my God, I couldn't believe it." I think the Vikings at home are going to have a little surge of love and faith coming out of them in this game. I think they're a little bit hungry right now. They didn't look so good in their last game, and I always like a team who looks like they didn't do so well because I just think it makes them hungry for the next game.
Well, I think they won last week. They went into the Meadowlands and beat the Giants.
Yeah, I know, but they didn't look that good, though, doing it. The Giants aren't a good team, man, and they still didn't look good doing it.
The Eagles didn't look good beating the Jets either. I mean, their defense finally came with some swagger.
Yeah. Look, well, your defense to me, and it's weird because you have one of the best quarterbacks in the league, but your defense is your team. Your offense seems to be hit or miss. And
this defense, I feel like when they're on, nobody can touch them.
Yeah, I feel like then that's why I picked them, because I feel like come playoff time when it's time to step up, I think they will. And the problem is right now, I think it's almost like they're moody. Their offense is like moody. Like they're like, all right, they're getting a little close to us. We better go ahead and step up. And then the third quarter, they start playing football. When they start facing harder teams, I just don't think you can do that. I think come playoff time, that whole mentality gets flipped.
Maybe this is a lesson game for them. They've kind of been able to get by on that. Yeah. playing the second half and you're still finding ways to win. Maybe this is one of those games where they need to be taught. You can't just show up for 30 minutes and expect to win.
Yeah. So, yeah. All right. We shall see.
Yeah. So I guess that's going to be it for the evening. Everyone, hope you enjoyed. Make sure to give a thumbs up down there and throw us a comment. Maybe give us some picks. Maybe you want to comment on who you think the next permanent Redskins head coach should be. It could be a nice little topic for everybody to debate in the comment section. And then, make your picks. See who you like, especially for our matchups, the Eagles and the Cowboys games. And next week is Eagles-Dallas week. That'll be a fun conversation for us to have.
Yeah.
As well. I have a feeling it'll just be randomly, going through very quickly the other slate of games just so we could spend about 20 minutes talking about Eagles-Cowboys.
Right. And this is at Dallas, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, this is the trip to Dallas.
Now, after playing the Packers, I have no faith that home field advantage does anything for the Cowboys right now. Just me. It all has to do with having a ginger. When you got a ginger, it's just hard to win, man.
They don't have souls. Speaking of gingers, now, if you'd like, check out on Mondays the Football Smack Talk show with myself and Ryan, the ginger you see over the other shoulder.
Oh, there, yeah, you're backwards. It's all right. You're an Eagle fan. You got it backwards. I get it.
Yeah.
Dyslexic.
Actually, I definitely had that too.
I was actually dyslexic when I was younger, so I can't really talk shit.
But yeah, so check out Football Smack Talk show Monday nights 8:30 on Facebook Live. And then, of course, Tuesdays, you got the broadcast over there with Ryan and Ryan. They talk all 4 Philadelphia sports teams. Then Wednesday night here, we have Mike Sports. And then Thursdays, you like a little wrestling. We talk some wrestling on the Tables, Ladders, and Chairs podcast.
Now, tune in so you can hear their thoughts on the SmackDown moving to Fox and how it went.
Yeah, definitely a lot to talk about there as we recap the first episode over on Fox. And then we preview the WWE draft. So that'll be a big conversation point. And the launch of the new promotion, AEW. How do we think that's going to change the landscape of wrestling? So everybody check that out. Make sure to throw all the comments, the likes. Make sure to tell us how much we're idiots here on this show. We appreciate everybody. And, have a good night. Happy football.